It's Discovering 615 with Thack Attack 615. And today we're diving into the story of Abby Blake, a powerhouse singer-songwriter whose journey started at a gymnastics meet in Minnesota when she unexpectedly sang the National Anthem. Now she's chasing her dreams in Nashville, bringing soulful music, real-life grit, and the support of a crew that stretches from Minnesota to Boston and beyond. Here we go.
So you have a brother, 2 years younger.
Yes.
How old is he again?
He's 25.
Okay. And what's his interest?
He's a car
What
guy.
kind of cars?
Really anything. He has a, oh goodness, don't do this to me. I want to say a Mazda that he works on all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Discovering 615. I'm your host, Thack Attack 615, and I'm joined today by the rising singer and songwriter, Abby Blake. Abby, so glad to have you on Discovering 615 today.
Thank you for having me.
So, as we were talking about earlier, before the podcast, we were talking about you're from Minnesota. So, what brought you to Nashville? Share that. How'd you get down to country music capital?
Yeah, so I'm a musician.
Okay.
That's really the main reason that I moved here. But I moved to Boston first to go to school. I went to school out there for 3 years for music, and then moved here.
What school was it in Boston?
Berkeley College of Music.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you play an instrument? You play
Play piano.
piano? Okay. Great. What got you started in playing piano?
Well, music has really always been a part of my life. So when I was a kid, I think it was about third grade is when I started taking lessons. My parents were just kind of like, do you want to try to learn an instrument? What do we want to do? So, yeah, so they put me in lessons and just kind of went from there.
Right.
Yeah.
And then so you keyboard and then the singing aspect that just came naturally?
Yeah, so I always loved to sing, but I didn't really start singing until I was in high school.
Okay.
I was in choir and jazz choir and started singing national anthems at different sporting events, football games, everything. The first one that I did, though, it was kind of forced upon me. I did sports all my life as well, and so there was a gymnastics meet that I was competing in, and it was about to start, and they were like, we have nobody to sing the national anthem. Abby, you do it, here's the microphone. And so it was so terrifying, but then ever since then it just, I don't know, just kind of kept doing it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
How did it turn out?
It was good. I think, yeah. It wasn't
They say that's the hardest thing to sing on the national anthem. It's one of the hardest things to sing.
Yeah.
So
I think, yeah, it wasn't completely disastrous, so that's good.
So who are some of your favorite people that you look up to in the music industry in terms of vocalists?
So my first vocal inspiration was Carrie Underwood. I always loved her voice, loved her music. I always loved like the powerhouse vocalists like Whitney, Celine Dion. Yeah, just the big songs, big voices. That was always what made me feel the most and the sound that I wanted to emulate the most. So.
That's great. That's great. So talk about a little bit. You got an EP out. What's the background behind that? And some of the songs like you got "Quit Leaving Me Alone," "Ruby," "Where Were Ya?"
Yeah.
What's background behind those?
So my EP, I wrote the majority of it. "Quit Leaving Me Alone," I started writing maybe like a year or two before the EP was even a thought in my mind. But I wrote the rest of the EP when I first moved to Nashville, and it was just sort of like a moving on, a little bit of heartbreak. The transition from Boston to Nashville, while it was really exciting, was also really hard because I just loved Boston so much, and so moving on from that was really tough and leaving some of those people behind. So yeah, that's really what it was inspired by.
So you transitioned from Minnesota to Boston to Nashville. What's been some of the interesting differences between those places and similarities for you?
Yeah, so where I grew up in Minnesota, it's a very small town, population 3,000. I think my high school graduating class was 56 kids or something. So going from that to Boston, completely different, being tossed into a huge city, and going to music school, completely different than I feel like most people from my hometown have done. So it was really kind of an intimidating, scary, also very exciting venture that I had begun. But living in a huge city like that in comparison to this really small town was, I think, the biggest difference. And then going from Boston to Nashville, still having that big city aspect along with sort of that small town feel. I think Nashville is really just a big small town.
With fun traffic to drive through.
Yeah, my goodness, yeah. But it's interesting because now that I'm in Nashville, there's a few people who are in my close friend group who are from my hometown. So it's kind of ironic that some of that has come full circle. And some of my friends from Boston also live here. So it's like
so cool.
Worlds colliding a little bit. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I mean, so you got some support already.
Yeah.
In the community. Talk about a little bit about that too. How has like the community, the music community especially, received you, and how's that been for you in terms of trying to, move into Nashville?
Yeah, I think it's been really good. I think I've gotten a lot of support, and I feel like everyone has really welcomed me with open arms, which is a real relief because I think the music industry in general can be really scary and really intimidating and very competitive. And so the fact that I've gotten a lot of really great feedback, especially from, even tourists or friends and, whoever, people who have come to my shows, it always means so much when they have really nice things to say. And it makes me feel like I'm doing something right, especially if it's about a specific song or, I think it's been pretty welcoming all in all, which I feel really lucky to be able to say that.
That's great. That's great. So what have been, since you moved here, what have been some of the challenges as well as successes for you in terms of being here in Nashville, pursuing the music industry?
Yeah. Some challenges, I think just finding your footing as an independent artist and trying to navigate the industry and trying to figure out what to do, how to do it, because there really is no right way to really go about this, which can be completely terrifying. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just just trying to keep your eye on the prize and trying to not compare yourself to other artists and musicians, because that's something that I'm very guilty of. So it's, trying to just lean into your own thing and just kind of try to do what feels right. But I think that's the biggest thing, is that there is no right way. But some successes, I feel like, having the support that I've gotten in people sort of reassuring me and, different conversations that I've had with helpful tips or, people sort of trying to help nudge me in the right direction has been really helpful. I played on Broadway for about a year, so that was incredible experience, and getting to sort of practice performance skills.
How was that?
It was a trip. It was really good. definitely some pros and cons, and I think every Broadway musician can attest to that as well. It's super fun to play down there. It's so much fun, and the band I was playing with was great. But I had to quit because it tore up my voice a little bit, so that kind of landed me in voice therapy for a few months. But yeah.
Where was your favorite, when you were doing Broadway, where was your favorite place to play or perform?
Yeah, so I really only played at one spot. I played at the Kid Rock's rooftop. So I was up there. So it was fun to be on the roof. But yeah, I really only played there.
Okay, cool. So let's talk about, what do you want your fans to experience through your music? What do you want them to, take away after they come hear you perform your music? What do they want? What do you want them to go away with?
Mm-hmm. I think I want them to just feel something. I feel like when I'm writing, it's very therapeutic, and it's very, I have a few songs in particular where it's just like, I just have to get this out of me. And I think I just want people to have something to relate to, especially if they're going through a breakup, or if they're going through, anything that can be difficult. Sometimes it can be hard to form those words, and so if I can give that to somebody else, I think that's a huge win. But I think my biggest goal when I write and when I perform is to make someone feel something, whether that's, making them feel seen through something hard, or, make them feel super happy and, have a dance party, or, whatever it is. But yeah.
That's the thing that I love about music, is that it makes you feel, it draws the emotions of people in. I mean, look at, not just songwriting, but, in scores and movies. How does the music draw? But that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you're not writing music, when you're not performing, what does Abby Blake like to do in her free time?
Oh gosh, what free time? No. I mean, I have a day job, so if I'm not working, I'm really working on music, but I try to spend as much time with my friends as I possibly can. I'm a huge quality time girl. I just love to hang out. Don't even really have to be doing anything crazy, but I love to feel connected to the people that I love, and to, just have good conversation, or even just sitting there talking about nothing. Is I just love to be with my people and connect with them.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So that gives you a sense of community again. Community is so important in every aspect of life, to have people surround you that love you, support you. That's great that you got that from Minnesota and Boston. How about in terms of developing locally? Have you been able to develop that as well locally, in terms of people from Nashville as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been really lucky in. It's so funny because I feel like the people who I've brought with me have then in turn introduced me to local people as well. But yeah, there's definitely been people that I've connected with here who are from here. But yeah.
That's great. That's great. So, what advice would you give for aspiring singers and songwriters?
I think if you're gonna do it, do it. Don't go half-in. You kind of have to hit the ground running, and it can be really scary. This is something that I kind of still tell myself every day. It's like, it's important to rest, but you can't really pull back. Have ways that you can recharge so that you don't burn out, because the burnout is very real. But you really just have to believe in yourself, because I think there's a lot of people who won't, or don't really listen to the naysayers. And if one person doesn't like it, that doesn't mean that it's bad. But yeah, you kind of just have to keep your nose to the grindstone and just kind of keep working.
You mentioned recharging. How do you go about when you feel like you're feeling like that burnout a little bit or something? Mm-hmm. How do you go about recharging then?
I usually talk to a friend or call my mom or dad. And I'm like, I'm losing it. Please help me.
Love my dad.
I know. Or I'll just really just have a quiet night. Sometimes it's just, you also need to just recharge by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is so hard in a world where we're distracted by everything and anything.
Yeah.
So what are your future plans, upcoming projects, expansions we should be looking forward to with your music and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I have one song that I'm working on recording right now. It's called 7 Years Old. I've been trying to get it recorded for about a good year and a half. It's sort of just been a process, but I'm so excited about this song in particular because it just means so much to me, and I love playing it out, and the feedback that I get from people when I play it out is just so, it kind of comes back to the whole, like, it's very clear that it makes people feel something, and that's even more reason that I want to put it out for people. But it's also, I feel like it's sort of releasing something for me as well to put this song out there. So I'm really excited.
That's great. Mm-hmm. That's great. So where can people follow you?
Everywhere on social media.
Okay.
It's Abby Blake, ABBYBLAKE official.
Okay.
So yeah, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, that's what it is.
And you have a website?
I do have a website. It's abbyblakeofficial.com.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Well, Abby, thank you for coming on Discovery 615.
Thank you so much for having me.
Folks, make sure you hit Spotify and look up Abby Blake, listen to her awesome music, and everyone, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, and God bless.